Okay, sorry for the sudden cutoff there. I just looked at my little time thing and realized I went over 10 minutes. So, yeah. But I'm pretty good because it's just like 10 minutes and 16 seconds. So, yeah. Back to the whole thing. Where was I? Okay. So, yeah. James, Nick, and Sally, the Critics fan kids, are there. So Burroughs brings them to a new Fringe situation room. I'm not sure what that means. But, so the three Critics fan subjects recognize Walter. They're like, oh, you're the one who tested on us. Oh, they get all mad. And he's like, please, you just have to save my son. What I did was wrong, I know it. And he's apologizing, and then they realize that even though we may have hurt him, they helped even though he may have hurt them, he helped make them stronger and such. So that is a good thing. And so that night, James goes to a hospital, and he uses his powers to help cure a bunch of patients, which is like really awesome. And Nick and Sally go to a hotel room. Ooh. And then Olivia gives Ella this little necklace with a cross chain on it, with a cross on a chain. Yeah, sorry. And she says that her mother gave it to her before she died. It was a really touching moment. I was like, aw. But it kind of like scared me because I thought that Ella was going to think that Olivia was going to die because, yeah, the whole thing. But she was kind of just like, oh, thanks, Aunt Liv. And she's like, you're welcome, baby girl. And then she starts to leave, and then, so Rachel hug and all that stuff, and then after Olivia leaves, then Ella runs out and she's like, hey, Mom, look what Olivia gave me. And then Rachel gets like, because she knows what happened. So, now Rachel isn't sure if she's ever going to see Olivia again. So then Nina sends a message to Belle that the team is crossing over, but they aren't even sure she'll get the message because you've seen on her little retro computer thing where she's always sending a message, but he hasn't replied like to any of her messages, but they're hoping. So Burroughs is saying, you're entering enemy lines without any plans, and you don't have a plan when you reach the other side. What are you going to do? But Olivia's determined, and then then Burroughs goes all like, Walter, I won't allow you to do this. But then finally, after some arguing, he's like, okay, just do it. So then Olivia goes over with Walter and the other fan kids because they're going to cross over. So then Walter, they have to all get in a circle, like put their arms out. Sorry, my camera's stuck. And Walter keeps saying like, oh, imagine when you were a child and you're running through the fields or something like that, and then your imagination has no limits, and your imagination can take you anywhere, and imagine the other universe like a curtain opening up, the curtain passed right through you, and I'm trying to remember everything he said, and he's like, yes, and like it was weird trance, and the whole camera's spinning, and it makes you really dizzy, and then finally James collapses, and then tumor starts like forming on his face, and then Olivia's like, oh my gosh, but then they look up and they realize they're there, they're in the alternate universe, they did it. So, but then they hear sirens, so then they have to leave James' poor body there, and then that's when you realize that the body that the altered people found in the tumors was James, and they had to leave him, and he probably died. Yeah, he did die, which sucks, but they gotta keep moving on, so they have to, like, run and scramble, so then, steam starts to rise from Sally's body. Oh, crap. Sorry, my camera was weird. Wait, okay. Sorry, it's back. So, because she's like, I'm burning up, Nick! And then, he tries to comfort her, but throughout the rest of the episode, she's kind of like, sorry. So then, the alternate world Fringe Squad division, they examine James' body as Walter, Olivia, Nick, and Sally. They hide, and then Olivia compares the $20 bill from our side to the one to a $20 bill on this side, which has Martin Luther King on it instead of Jackson. So then she scans it, but then she just thinks it's a counterfeit, but she's like, oh, why would they go through all this trouble to make all this detail? But, okay. So, an alarm is triggered at the alternate universe Department of Defense as the Jackson-faced $20 bill appears on the screen. He alerts the agents that the Secretary of Mr. Secretary, remember, Newton was talking about in a while back about Mr. Secretary wouldn't be pleased, and then Walter is Mr. Secretary and Secretary of Defense, so wants to see them because of the $20 bill they found. So then Olivia, Charlie, and Lincoln, they go to the Department of Defense, and then they meet Walter Nitt, and then he tells them that their Fringe division was started in 1985 due to handle natural environmental disasters. Sorry, I'm just reading this off the page. Caused by holes in the universe is based on his writings, which are actually a lie, which is the ZFT, I believe. Is that what he's talking about? The holes were not natural, but caused by men, and they led to a parallel Earth like theirs. Walter Nitt says that those who attempt to cross over into this world are about to start a war, which is not true. Well, it might be, I mean, but they just want to get Peter back because Walter thinks that Peter's going to be responsible for the end of the world and they have to get it back, so, because they're using this weird weapon, and, so he orders the agents to, like, apprehend the invaders, but, they're not really invaders, well, I guess, but, so Peter, finally awakes in the alternate universe in the Bishop Mansion, which is really nice, by the way. It's, like, so fancy. It's, like, right on the water, and they have this... Yeah, well, enough with that. So then he's, like, connected to all these medical machines that track his temporal acclimation. So he's been asleep for 3 days, and he gets out of bed, and then he sees Elizabeth, and then it's really touching because she's like, oh, Peter. She tries to add that she's not very emotional. You've been sleeping for 3 days, and you're right. He's like, I'm fine. And then she's like, I made you bacon. I don't know if, do you like bacon? And then he's like, I love bacon. And then he goes and hugs her, and I was like, oh, it was so cute, like, reunited. She starts crying. She's like, I miss you so much, Peter. And it was really sad because the other Elizabeth died on the other side. She committed suicide and all that. But, so they haven't been seeing each other in, like, over 20 years, by the way. And so she wants to hear about his childhood, so they're out on their very nice water patio thing, and then Peter says that his mother from his former world wasn't strong like this, wasn't strong like the Elizabeth on the alternate side. So he thinks it's his fault that his mother committed suicide and everything. Hi! And all that, but then Elizabeth says that, you know, we have to take responsibilities for our own actions eventually, good or bad, and it's not your fault, which I thought was a very good point. Awesome, Elizabeth. So, Olivia Walter and the rest of the Cortex fans, except for James, which are Nick and Sally, they have to walk across New York, and they can't take a bus because they need their ID, and they can't do that because they're fond of all this side and all that. So then Sally's like really like burning up now, and then she like wants to buy a Cabbage Patch Kid, and her head is like, yeah. So Nick's helping her though. What a sweetie. So then she denies it when Walter asks if they've exerted their abilities before they crossed. And then Walter hopes that maybe Belle can help Sally once they find him, because the message that Nina sent to Belle was to meet them at this bridge. So what's going to happen on the bridge, we'll see in part 3.